Hello, this is the Scholar Gentleman, and I'm here to do a book report. Hopefully, there'll be enough room in my machine, my phone. I did Henry Mayhew's The London Labor and the London Poor. It took me a year and a half to read this thing, not because it's boring, but because the information contained therein is very, very granular, very exhaustively researched, and it's also written in Victorian diction. This came out as a series of pamphlets or articles in newspapers when it was first published before it was compiled into a single book, and they basically deal with all aspects of lower level, like low income London poor back in the Victorian era. I want to say from approximately 1850 to 1860, and Henry Mayhew basically interviews everyone from every walk of life. We're talking rag sellers. We're talking street performers. We're talking junk traders, everything, beggars, Punch and Judy people. It's very educational, especially if you read a lot of Charles Dickens. It gives you a pretty good context and a good backdrop as to when all this stuff is happening. Especially every year I see A Christmas Carol, the Alistair Sim version, and that one has the feeling of Victorian London in it. So now I think of a lot of this when I see it. What else? I have to admit, it was kind of depressing reading about all of these down at heel, down in the mouth people with no safety net to catch them, basically trying to eke a living out as best as they could. And this was in the, obviously long before the National Health Service, long before any social safety nets. So people were homeless quite a bit of the time. A lot of them were sleeping on the streets, or they were in workhouses. And I guess that was the only real safety net that Victorian England provided, especially London. But yeah, I took a break from this book in the middle of it, and then went on to other things, and it basically stayed in my Goodreads list for a year, still reading. As I went through other books, came and went. Next, right beside it, but I picked this up because it was a mode of heavy research for Alan Moore when he was writing his From Hell miniseries, which then later got collected into a graphic novel. If you ever want like a really good dose of Victorian London, check out From Hell. It's a graphic novel from Alan Moore, and I can't remember the artist's name, but the artist has a really good scratchy pen and ink style that really suits the material very, very well, and it really paints a very evocative picture of London during the Whitechapel murders, the Jack the Ripper murders. So I don't know, I might have to read that again after this, but that's what prompted me to read this in the first place. So I'm glad I'm glad it's behind me. So now I can go forward into the year unencumbered, because it was kind of sitting on my to be read rack, just kind of sitting there and haunting me. So now I do not have any albatrosses around my neck reading wise. I had to get rid of a couple apps on my phone to be able to make this video. So I'm glad that it's taking, because the last book I read, I had to basically put my Goodreads book report over here in text form because I didn't have room for it. Hopefully that'll change. Anyway, this is the Scholar Gentleman signing off, and happy reading and Happy New Year. Cheers.